Today's video is sponsored by Native Sons Goods, makers of premium quality guitar, bag, and camera straps, handmade in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Check out their website to order your own custom creation and play in style. And remember, when you support my sponsors, you support this channel, and I sure appreciate it.
Hey y'all, it's Shitpost Friday.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Brad the Guitarist here, and it is Shitpost Friday. I have reluctantly paused the Donna Reed show in order to do this video, so I'm going to try to make this a quick one because I really want to get back to Donna Reed. The first thing I want to address is something that I kind of missed last week with all the Gibson confusion. In his video about the Gibson debacle, internet celebrity Music Is Win released a video with a montage in the first couple of minutes featuring yours truly.
Gibson, no. I hardly knew thee.
Gibson Brands Incorporated has filed for bankruptcy.
But my Gibson Stratocaster.
Gibson filing for bankruptcy.
My Gibson 12-string Firebird.
Yeah, Gibson's finally bankrupt.
My Gibson Flying V. Oh wait, this is an Epiphone Flying V.
Gibson has officially filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy.
My Gibson Les Paul with single coil pickups.
Gibson filed bankruptcy.
How will we go on? How will we all move forward?
He sampled a bit of my video where I was live streaming and talking about the Gibson thing. And those of you who watched that Gibson live stream of mine understand that for like 20 minutes I was basically talking about, okay, what's going to happen whenever Gibson comes out of this bankruptcy or restructures their debt, or what are they going to lose? What are they going to retain? How is this all going to come out? A fairly in-depth discussion, I thought, at the time, given the information that was just coming out within hours of putting the video up. Well, in this montage, he's kind of taking the piss at a bunch of different YouTubers, and I went back and I watched the videos of all these other guys as well after I saw this, just to check and see what they were saying. And interestingly enough, every single one of these guys was talking about this being a Chapter 11 bankruptcy, and Gibson, is going to come out the other end.
Gibson Brands Incorporated has filed for bankruptcy protection. Bankruptcy protection. Bankruptcy protection.
This video kind of comes across as, oh, I'm the only one with all the answers, and here's what these other guys are not telling you.
And I'm going to give you some opinions that you've never heard before.
It's kind of a backhanded way to conduct yourself, if I'm being honest. I don't think I've ever mentioned this guy in any of my videos before. Maybe I should be flattered that he's mentioning my lowly channel with my lowly 40,000 plus subscribers opposed to his 400,000. So he's about 10 times the size of this channel. So he can pretty much say what he wants. But, why go to those links, dude? Why do that? At the end of it, you talk about the guitar community kind of coming together.
Guitar players, we should stick together.
That just kind of struck me the wrong way, and I was a bit confused by it. In other guitar news, a couple of interesting things. The founder and leader of the band Death, Chuck Schuldiner, his nephew is selling off one of his guitars, one of his BC Riches, and it's in pretty bad shape. I'll put a link down in the description, and I'll show it here. But you can see kind of how screwed up the thing is. But his nephew apparently said this is exactly how he left it, and he's the last one to have even put strings on the thing. The bid is currently up to $7,600. And it's a real BC Rich. This isn't a knockoff or anything like that, and it's not one of the later BC Riches. It's a real deal Bernie Rico BC Rich. So they're nice guitars. And the fact that it has this connection with one of probably the titans of death metal, Chuck Schuldiner. And I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, man.
You're pronouncing that wrong. How can you be a real fan if you're pronouncing his name wrong?
You guys are always on my ass about pronunciations. I don't think I've ever heard his name pronounced by anyone. I think I've only ever read it in magazines and read it on the albums that I've had, so sue me if I'm pronouncing it incorrectly. But, you know, some of those Death albums, particularly the ones with Andy LaRoque, or Andy LaRoque.
You're pronouncing that wrong. How can you be a real fan if you're pronouncing his name wrong?
You know what? Fuck you. Kiss my ass. The albums with Andy LaRoque, I think he made 2, possibly 3 albums with Andy LaRoque as the other guitar player. But the main one that I recall is Individual Thought Patterns, and that album is absolutely phenomenally killer. Do check that album out. It is one of the albums that I would consider the pinnacle of metal. You'll probably have to get past the vocals if you're not used to hearing death metal screeching like this, but believe me, the guitar work on these albums is more than worth it. Also on the auction block is this guitar, George Harrison. Yes, that George Harrison. This is his first electric guitar. Not his first guitar, but his first electric guitar, and it is a Hofner Club. Harrison donated the electric guitar to a band competition during the Beatles' 1966 German tour. The guitar was signed with the Beatles' names by their road manager. What? Oh, so the road manager signed their names for them in 1966. Yeah, they were busy recording their asses off. Guitar estimated to fetch between 200 and 300,000. It'll probably well exceed that. Most of these guitars exceed these auction estimates at this point. Especially if you get 2 people who really want it, it could go into the stratosphere. These are the kinds of collectibles that I find intriguing. You know, if you're going to spend a buku of money on stuff, you know, why not buy George Harrison's first electric guitar? I mean, these are lovely playing guitars. You can see it's got a crack on it down by the control cavity. You know, this is the sort of thing, it really doesn't matter, though. I mean, it doesn't matter if you never play this thing again. And, geez, look at the setup on it. Look at the bridge. The saddles are all over the place. There's no way this thing is intonated. But it comes with all the provenance, and that would really be something if you own George Harrison's first guitar. Normally I wouldn't talk about something like this, but it is, I guess, sort of in guitar news. The Alabama doctor who prescribed drugs to the 3 Doors Down guitarist who overdosed to death is being charged in his death, and he could go to jail for a long time and pay up to $2.8 million in fines if convicted. Apparently this doctor prescribed guitarist Matthew Roberts fentanyl and other drugs, probably opiates, and he ended up dying of a drug overdose as a result. What do you guys think about this sort of thing? Do you think we should start throwing doctors in prison who overprescribe this stuff? What knock-on effect is that going to have for the people who really need it? You know, I would like to hear your thoughts on that. That would be interesting. Interesting discussion, because in my mind I can definitely see if this asshole was just giving him drugs, you know, like a glorified drug dealer, then maybe there is some music he should be facing. On the other hand, the libertarian inside of me says this guy chose his path. He wanted to dance with the devil, and the devil won, and it's predictable that the devil's going to win that dance. It's an interesting discussion for sure. Sound off down in the comments and let me know what you think on that one. Okay, I've gotten some things over the past couple weeks I would like to open for you, so let's get to that. This first package was sent to me by Carl from Austin, and there's a note with it here. It says, Brad, here you go. As I said, the power voltages on the connectors are off. A bit of troubleshooting will be required. I want to show you guys what this is. A really nice prototyping station. This is a Global Specialties Design and Prototyping Proto-Board PB503. It's got all your built-in power, and this thing looks boss. Voltage adjustments here. Yeah, this is definitely going to be something I can get into, and I should be able to repair, and it should make a good video. But he says the power voltages on the connectors are off a bit. He didn't say that it's not working at all, that they're just off a bit. I think he said he bought a new one and didn't need this old one, so He was passing it along and thought I might be able to use it, which I'm certain I probably will be able to use. Man, I really appreciate it. So very cool. This will definitely be the subject of a future video, and I'm sure will feature in some of my prototyping videos. So thanks a lot. Appreciate that, Carl. Also got this package in the mail. Okay, right away we can see we got a t-shirt. The owner of this company sent me a free sample of his PICKER'S grip formula. He wanted to send me something, and what I suggested that we do on this is do a giveaway. So I spoke to the owner of this company. What we're going to do is give away a prize package. He's going to send a winner a shirt and some of this PICKER'S grip formula. But here's the contest. If you guys are interested in entering this PICKER'S grip contest, all you have to do, just say something that makes me laugh. It could be anything. It doesn't have to be politically correct. I don't care what it is. As long as it makes me laugh and I get a kick out of it, I'm going to put a little heart next to your comment. The comment will shoot to the top. And then I want all of you guys who are also commenting to like and dislike the other comments. And whoever gets the most likes for their funny comment will win a PICKER'S grip prize package, and I will give it a week. So by next Friday I will announce the winner. I'll give you a prize code and a contact information. If you contact him, and he will send you a prize package. But I want to try this stuff out and see what it's like. I told him, I said, man, you know, you're probably barking up the wrong tree, because as most people know, I grow my fingernails out. I grow my fingernails out and finger pick a lot. So, you know, I'm probably not the ideal guy to do a promotion for PICKER'S grip. What does this say? Directions. Flip container lid and squeeze container sides to loosen disc. Okay, so squeeze the sides and it loosens the disc. Jeez, that smells incredible. Can I just rub this on my skin? He says it's a proprietary blend of beeswax and citrus. Yeah, that's what I'm smelling, is citrus. It smells awesome. Turn the container over and tap into the hand or a hard surface to remove the disc. Oh, it just fell right out. Makes it sound really difficult, but it wasn't. With the edges of the disc, mark 4 to 6 lines across your pick's gripping area. And I just go like 1, 2, 3, 4, or yeah, something like that. Okay, I lost count. Okay, so I've got grippy stuff on my pick now. So is there anything else? Let's see. Work PICKER'S grip into your pick by squeezing and rubbing until it becomes a thin coat on your pick. Oh, Donna, oh, Donna. Ow! Ow. How can I test the grippiness? I wonder if I can pick things up. Let's try to pick other things up. Let's start with this packaging. And I'm just going to use my thumb. Let's see if I can pick up the package label. There we go. It's grippy. This is highly unscientific. Let's do this. Let's try my chopstick. Can I pick up a chopstick with PICKER'S grip? Ooh, check it. Oh man, that lasted a good, what? 3 seconds anyway. Alright, cool. I would assume some of my hand grease and dirt and dust probably is now getting in this stuff and probably making it less effective. Crazy brush! Oh, you picked up. How about a vintage RCA 6BQ5 tube? Okay, come on. Oh, it passed the 6BQ5 test. What about a 6V6G? Oh! Ha! And the most important thing by far that I forgot to mention about this product. Sorry, kids. Okay, that brings us to the guitar of the day. And I thought, since we saw a Hofner earlier when we looked at the George Harrison's first electric guitar, that I would show you my Hofner. This is a 1967 Super Beatle model G459 VTZ. The V stands for vibrato, the T stands for treble boost, and the Z is, I'm not really sure. But this thing has a very interesting, well, everything about it really is interesting. The pickups are extremely cool. I believe they call these the Model 513s, if I'm not mistaken. When you see a Hofner guitar with these pickups on them, probably are going to want that guitar, because these pickups, in my opinion, are some of the best pickups ever made. You see here, this one has a ebony fretboard. Really cool inlays, kind of like spade inlays. It's dusty right now, but you can see the inlays on the headstock are really fancy. Very cool. They've got this pin striping all around the edge of the headstock with the binding. Just a very nice, well put together instrument. These tuners are interesting, and if you break one of them, you're probably going to have problems finding another one. Here, I'll just show you for demonstration purposes, since this might be the one and only time you ever see this. But these have a little rod in them like this that comes out. And then when you get it out, this lifts off, exposing the inside. It's just kind of like a piece of metal that fits over the top of it. And you know, if you want to grease it or whatever, or if you need to fix it, you can get in there and do that. Let's try that again, but from the bottom this time. I think it goes, okay, so this goes around that bottom piece, and then should just go pop right on there. So you can disassemble those just like that. But check out this thing, man. I mean, I love this guitar. I love it. Now these were a bolt-on neck, the 6-string version of this Beatles guitar. They did not make very many of these in 6-string. And they made the fewest in this blonde, the Super Beatle version. So there's not a whole lot of these really floating around out there. You can look online and see just basically a handful of them. It has a spruce top. Check this out. Really nice, kind of close grained spruce top. It's got this kind of mothered toilet seat binding, but it has this wooden binding also that's inlaid into the edges of the top. I guess you call that marquetry. It's got an oddball switch that is stock. The bridge on this one is not stock, unfortunately. It was gone when I got this, and the stock bridge is hard to come by. That's why I haven't replaced it quite yet. I'm still on the lookout for one, though. If anyone knows where I can get one of those stock bridges. I'm also looking for an original case for it. But yeah, these pickups are just incredible pickups. One of them has been rewound by Brantley Rewinds. He did a fantastic job. It had a broken winding. The electronics in these are really odd. There is a treble boost and a fuzz boost in addition to the volume and tone controls. So you have a fuzz boost control right here. It has built-in fuzz, built-in treble boost as well, and you can select these so you can go like treble boost, fuzz boost, or treble and fuzz, which is interesting. And if you press this button right here, this big clunky button, that's what turns it on, the electronics. And I think this is one of the very first guitars ever produced, the very first models of a guitar ever produced with active electronics. So that's a neat little trivia quiz winner there for you. Next time you're on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, I'm sure that'll come up. So yeah, overall, really cool, interesting guitar. The sides and back are flame maple. Beautiful flame maple on the back. This is a hollow body guitar, and you can really tell it when you play it. The other thing I love about this is it almost has a grindy, sort of grungy tone even when you're playing it acoustically. It has a I don't know, a grittiness to the tone. I'm not sure if I think it's really down to the body. I've made a lot of videos with this guitar in the past, so you can go back through my videos and see a bunch of examples of the tone of this thing. 1967 Hofner 6-string Super Beatle model G459 VTZ. That brings us to this week's Influences segment. Well, this week I thought I would go back toward the metal end of things because, you know, I was a metal kid growing up, and talk about probably one of the biggest influences as far as metal goes. You know, I already mentioned Death a little earlier in this video. No metal kid would be complete without at least some Ozzy Osbourne in his or her collection. Obviously, his early stuff with Randy Rhoads is, you know, I mean, it speaks for itself. Critically acclaimed, really good stuff all around. Randy's playing is just off the charts, incredible. And this is back when Ozzy could really, you know, hit his notes and probably remember his lyrics a little better. All those sorts of things. Man, you know, he's getting old now, and it's really starting to show. And I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't last too much longer, because I mean, you know, he's an old man. All these guys from this era are all old men. All these early albums: Blizzard of Oz, Diary of a Madman, Bark at the Moon. I remember listening to Bark at the Moon. I had it on tape, and just, you know, the hair on my arm standing up on that last little whoa, 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 Bark at the Moon. Just killer. This album had some really great stuff on it. Doesn't get nearly as much press as kind of, you know, the earlier stuff, or some of the later stuff with Zakk Wylde, but you know, it's a great album. So you know, you have the Zakk Wyldes, you have the Randy Rhoads, you have the Jake E. Lees, and they all get, you know, a whole lot of ink and a whole lot of talk about them. But my favorite Ozzy Osbourne guitar player was Brad Gillis, who played on this live Speak of the Devil double album. Now, even though they went back, admittedly, and re-recorded some things and did some overdubbing and cleaned up some of the tracks and whatnot and combined things, I think, you know, to make this album. So it's not 100% a live album. Some people, you know, frown upon that sort of thing, but I personally don't give a damn, because this is one of the best sounding, most awesome live albums you're ever going to hear. I remember the guitar player for my stepdad's band. My stepdad is a drummer, and he's a really good one, and a long time drummer in a band called Frostwood, and they would play locally down in western Kentucky and southern Illinois and things like that when I was growing up. And I always looked up to all those guys because they had, you know, actually recorded demos, and, you know, even before he became my stepdad, I looked up to him and recorded in his studio and stuff. And his guitar player let me borrow the cassette of this album, and I listened to this with my jaw on the freaking floor. Those crazy dive bombs and Floyd Rose effects and everything that Brad Gillis was doing on this album, just in complete awe. And this is how I wanted to play guitar. The way that Brad Gillis plays on this album is what I dreamed of being able to do when I was first starting out, you know, really getting serious about wanting to play guitar. Huge inspiration to me. He left that tape at my house, and I don't think I ever gave it back. I think I might have hid it or something and just told him I lost it because I really didn't want to give it back and get rid of it. Yeah, sorry, Greg. Maybe I owe you a Speak of the Devil. You probably don't even remember it now, do you? Thank you for loaning me this all those years ago. But yeah, basically what this album is it's a bunch of Black Sabbath covers. So it's all their, you know, their biggest hits from the Sabbath era, performed by Ozzy live with this band that he had put together. with Brad Gillis on guitar, and man, does this thing freaking rock. Tommy Aldridge on drum. Of course, Rudy Sarzo is always with them. But Brad Gillis is just stand out. All of the solos on these tracks, man, are just phenomenal. Phenomenal. Really melodic player. All of his solos were just... I don't think this picture was in the cassette. But all of his solos, man, on this album, in this live situation, were just... They seemed really fresh, really off the cuff, and I don't think he even had all that much time to learn all the songs. He just basically crammed on a weekend or something, and then had to hit the road and replace Randy Rhoads, who had just died, you know. So he already had big shoes to fill, and had to do it really lickety split, and boy did he ever do it, in my opinion. I think it would have been really cool to see him stick around for a couple albums and see what he could have come up with as a writing partner for Ozzy. Total lost opportunity. I mean, we did get some other cool albums out of it, I guess, but it would have been really neat to see Brad Gillis stick around. I think I saw an interview once with Brad Gillis, and he was talking about being, I think, only the second guitar player ever to order a Floyd Rose tremolo system. And he was the guy, not Eddie Van Halen, but he was the guy who inspired me to want to play Floyd Rose's. You know, for most people that would be Van Halen. I think he got Floyd Rose #1, and Brad Gillis got Floyd Rose #2 of all time that was ever created. So they were probably both prototypes. But yeah, very cool. And as far as I'm concerned, Brad Gillis, just because of this one album, probably had more influence on my guitar playing than just about any other shredder, I would say. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that his solos are so melodic. There's so much soul in them, and there's so much passion. Whenever he dive bombs, or whenever he flicks the springs on his tremolo to do some of those effects, whenever he would do some of that stuff, he wasn't just doing it to wank. You know, it didn't feel like he was just wanking and showing off. It felt like he was supporting the song, and his solo was going somewhere. Like, it always had a point. It wasn't as if, he was just flailing about. And that's what I love most about his playing, is that it just didn't feel like he was flailing about at all. It just really, for just a good example, listen to the solo on Snowblind on this record, if you could go find it. Now, you'll find a lot of stuff on YouTube where it's other concerts. So if you go searching YouTube to look at Speak of the Devil, you'll probably see concerts from Speak of the Devil, but it won't be this album. Usually, I think you have to really go buy this album to get everything that's on this. And I highly recommend you do, because this is one of my biggest influences, this album right here. But yeah, man, his solos, they always had a point. They were going unlike this rant. they were always going somewhere. And for that reason, I think most of the solos on here are more iconic in my mind than the original Tony Iommi solos for all these songs. But anyway, yeah, Ozzy Osbourne with Brad Gillis. That's my influence for this week. Hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I do have some other videos in the works. I have a Gibson amp that I just finished. That should be out probably in a day or so. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell to receive all notifications, and for now, y'all take care.